What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Shawnee Sham Boogie here, and we are back just like Kanjiro and Orochi, and we are going to be discussing One Piece chapter 1008. Now, One Piece chapter 1008 has a lot of people talking, and the discussion around death in One Piece has become like a pretty trendy topic among the fan base because like it's almost like, when do these characters die? And how are we supposed to know if these characters die? And pretty much we have three good examples of how death is like kind of weird in One Piece. But I'm going to start by speaking about the first two, and Orochi and Conjuro. And I'm actually very glad that these two are back. When it comes to both of these characters, I felt as though their deaths were both very anticlimactic. Now, Orochi's death, Kaido sliced his head off like pretty much out of nowhere. It wasn't even like a big panel. It was just kind of I'd say not even like half a page, and it wasn't really that big of a deal. And that kind of led us all to believe that Orochi was still alive, which I kind of always thought. Like, I kind of guessed that like he was alive, but I wasn't really sure. Like, you never know. But like, we all assumed that Orochi was going to be alive, and I'm glad that he is, because his character, this was probably the character who was built up to be the most hated character in the Wano arc. I mean, we saw all the stuff that he did to the country of Wano. We saw all the stuff that he did to the people of Wano, the people of Curry, and just how he treated those people so poorly. And I believe that Kaido killing him off wasn't really a good closing to his character arc. I would have liked to see something with Momonosuke or something with the scabbards, and like how he gets kind of what's coming to him, which he did, but I wanted to see more. And with his return, I'm actually excited about what he brings to the battle. Now, obviously, he's pissed off at Kaido. He's going crazy, and he says he's going to burn down the whole castle, burn down the whole island, which, when you think about it, the island of Onigashima is huge. Like, sometimes we kind of forget that and we forget where we're at. So, like, for him to burn that whole thing down, it's kind of like not real. Like, I couldn't see that happening. But you never know. It is One Piece. But he is trying to burn down the castle with which everybody is fighting in. So what this does is it presents a whole new element to our battle, the element of time. So this basically puts like a time limit on our battle, and basically gives the Straw Hats and the Wano Revolution an out, I guess you could say. And relating to that, as we saw at the end of the chapter, it doesn't really look like things are going well for the worst generation up top above the skull. It looks like they're kind of really struggling with Kaido and Big Mom. So I think that maybe this fire could present an opportunity for them to secure a victory as a group, as the Alliance, but not secure a victory against Big Mom and Kaido, if that makes sense. Now, when it comes to Kanjuro, this character has basically gotten even more evil, and I completely love it. We saw Oden, and we saw how he's trying to use Oden to mess with the scabbards and to really damage them mentally and emotionally, and even physically. And we see Ashrae Doji, and he goes out of his way to make it clear that this is not Oden, which I'm very glad about. I know it's been a big discussion in One Piece for the past 2 weeks. Like, this was probably one of the biggest cliffhangers ever.
And that's why he's called Cliffhanger.
In One Piece, at least since I've been reading. And this, I was not looking forward to this being almost really anything other than Kanjuro. I definitely did not want it to be that stupid teapot. I was not happy about that theory. I thought that was stupid. I thought it was a waste. I thought, like, I hate when people like think like that. Like, it really had nothing to amount to the story. So I was really glad to see that this was Kanjuro, and this does more for Kanjuro's character. As we saw, Kanjuro was killed off screen, so I feel like he deserves a little bit more as a character and a little bit more interaction that we get to see from the scabbards, which it looks like we're going to get. And this interaction starts with the death of Ashrae Doji. Well, supposed death of Ashrae Doji. We see that he basically sacrifices himself to prove that this is not Kozuki Oden as much as he wants it to be. And I'm glad that he stated it like this, because, like, I've gotten the feel that Ashrae Doji has become pretty noble as a character. I actually kind of want to make like a video on him. I don't know if I will, but I definitely feel that he's kind of dealt with this Wano stuff like head on. as much as, like, a little more than everybody else, because he's been there, the Atamaya Thieves Brigade, he had to deal with Kaido, he had to fight Jack, you know, he secluded himself, he dealt with this his own way. So to see him kind of like come full circle and put himself out there for the Scabbards, it's cool to see. It's a good character arc. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed what he's brought to the story, like, because all the other Scabbards were kind of just like, yeah, I'll join. And he was like, no, like, I don't see this happening. Like, we can't win. I've been waiting 20 years. But now he's really putting his life on the line for his Scabbards, which really shows what the Scabbards are about. And our next example of showing what the Scabbards are about comes from Inuyasha, who basically says to Jack that he's going to take him on, and has like one of the best one-liners. Like, I mean, we've been getting a lot of freaking fire one-liners, and this one is good. He's like, Jack's like, well, you don't have the moon down here, and Inuyasha's like, yeah, well, you don't have poison gas either. And so it's going to be a cool fight. I hope we get to see more of it. Both characters are pretty badly injured, so I think it could go either way. I would like to see Sanji help, but it looks to me like Sanji is going to help out Momonosuke and protect Momonosuke from maybe Kanjiro, which we basically know that Kanjiro is not going to get to Momonosuke. I mean, he's not going to get through Yamato, like, we know that, and I think it's obvious that the Scabbards are going to link up with him, and we're going to see more of what's going on with them and how they interact with each other. So I'd really like to see that. I'm excited for it. But as I said, we have a few more things to talk about in this chapter, one of them being Momonosuke. And it seems as though Momonosuke has kind of got his devil fruit under control. I feel like we're seeing a lot of foreshadowing in terms of Momonosuke's devil fruit and how he's going to help out in this raid and what effect he's going to have on the battle. Now, as we know, Momonosuke can hear the voice of all things. It's been said to do that. Him and Luffy have both heard the elephant on Zou, you know, other stuff of that nature. But when it comes to this chapter specifically, there's a few different things that, like, it could be, and I think I might make a video on it. I'm not sure. But when it comes to Momonosuke, we know that he has this connection to Luffy, that him and Luffy speak together and, like, basically have that voice of all things, that haki, whatever it may be, they can hear like a higher power. But there is the other option that he has a connection to Kaido through their devil fruits, and he basically can kind of see what's going on with Luffy because of his connection to Kaido through their devil fruits. I personally think it's the former, but we'll see where it goes going forward. I do want to learn a lot more about Momonosuke's devil fruit and about Vegapunk and how he created that devil fruit and basically what it means to the story and to Kaido and him going forward. Now, last but not least, we go up on top of the skull and we see that the worst generation is having trouble, as I said. But in classic Luffy form, Luffy's not wavering. He literally gets up, and it seems as though some time's passed, which I'm cool with. Like, maybe that leaves some room up for the anime to, like, you know, them for some good fight scenes, you know, whatever. But it seems as though Luffy's just, like, running at Kaido, and Kaido's just, like, slapping him back. Luffy does have a pretty good line, though, where he says that they're just as human as we are. Like, there's got to be a way to take them down. That, like, not to back down from this battle. And basically, the other worst generation pirates are like, yo, like, how do you see them in the same fashion? I think Kid says it specifically, like, he says, looking at these two in front of me, it looks like we're in hell. And Luffy, like I said, the one-liners have been going crazy. Luffy says straight up, that suits me just fine. I've been to hell and back a few times. It's familiar territory. And he has this pretty, like, good look on his face. And I love that Kaido is acknowledging him. Kaido's like, you never waver, Straw Hat. Like, I'm enjoying this right now. And it's pretty cool to see. But when we get to Kaido, we do see his hybrid form. Now, I am a little upset at this. I don't think it looks that great. I don't think it was presented in a very ecstatic way. I thought, like, it just kind of was put there next to Big Mom, which they both look extremely badass. Like, I love this panel. I actually saw a color version of this panel, and it made me, like, feel a lot better about it. But I don't know, I just feel like the design is a little too similar to Kaido's human form. I thought it was going to be a little more sleek, a little more dragon-like, but it's kind of me just nitpicking. It's a cool looking form, but I do wish it could have been a little better. Now, as you know, that is it for One Piece Chapter 1008. I may be posting another video on this chapter on a few different things, but we'll see later on going this week. But if you want to stay updated on my videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, like the video, and stay tuned for more anime and One Piece content.